Well, hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The We've Got Bibinho show, episode 4 here. I hope you're all doing well. Now, first of all, I'd just like to obviously apologise for this not going out on a Sunday. It was Mother's Day, so Mama Bibi did come first. I was there a lot longer than a whole wholly intended to be there in the first place. So, yeah, we've rescheduled it today. This is going to be Tuesday. Hopefully it'll go up on SoundCloud tonight and also iTunes. If not, it'll be Wednesday. And then obviously it will continue on from Sundays there on. It was literally just this week. But I hope you're all doing all right. Obviously the chat will start to fill up sometime soon and we can get some questions and comments in. This week's guest then is someone who I've known for quite a while. He is an active member in the PES community and he is someone who has hosted charity events and also has his own. So this week's guest is Mr Shogun himself. How you doing, mate? Yeah, so it's Mr Sho. It's Uncle Sho now, isn't it?
His girlfriend have had a little girl, so yeah, I'm over the moon at the moment. I'm in a
No,
really
congratulations,
really
mate.
good mood.
Welcome to the unclehood, shall we say?
Absolutely, yeah. You're more experienced than me in that field. So,
No, honestly, mate, it's an absolute pleasure. Obviously, since I started doing this, I set out who I wanted, and obviously I've been able to narrow you down, and I'm really glad that you've been able to get on with us.
yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
So moving on to the first part of call, barring obviously that you can find this on Twitch live now, YouTube, hopefully tomorrow, SoundCloud, iTunes, all that stuff. First part of call is to obviously congratulate Mr Fish and Pirate, and obviously Unbeatable, who couldn't make the PES the European finals. They managed to get into the co-op, very similar to the Wezatron and Nando's King that we had on last week. They managed to get to the finals over in Milan. Unfortunately, it's very similar to the Wezatron again, and his team. They couldn't get out of the group stages, but I'm sure the experience will do them well going forward. With all the other events that are coming up, I can't remember where the next one is, but I think they've got the Asia qualifiers going on as we speak. So hopefully they'll be able to get something onto those. So yeah. Hopefully as well. I've been speaking to the Midnight Kid, and he's going to try and get them on to do a PEScast rather than me having them on this show, which we arranged last time before the PEScast came out, and they're going to try and get them onto that with PES Universe, obviously, and to try and talk about I don't know if they did any vlogs or anything, so I don't think it'll be as visual as it was last time with the PES Uni Pros on my show, but hopefully try and get them on and talk through. Anyway, usually what I'd do is I'd go and I'd speak to my guest. We'd go through all the news stories. But I think, the show doesn't know I'm going to do this, but off the cuff, I think we're going to go with what you've been playing.
Okay. Right. So the games that I've been playing, obviously, I play a lot of PES 2018. Just a lot of Master League, a lot of My Club, and in between making content and just trying to have a bit of fun with the game as well. So that's kind of the main thing that I play. And I've left my Master League alone for a while, came back to it to make a video, and just struggled to get to grips with it initially. But I managed to get out a good video that went live today. So that's been that's kind of the main game I play. And then aside from that, which I don't really make content for, I did one stream a while back. I played a bit of 7 Days to Die, but I play a modded version called War of the Walkers, which is absolutely fantastic. It just adds a complete different layer to the PC version of the game. Adds a whole lot of different weapons, different kind of game mechanics and metas within the game as well. It's a lot of fun. It adds like bandits and a lot of the things that they've modded into that are now going into the next alpha as well. So it's clear that they've done a really, really good job with that mod, because it's made the it's made the developers of the game, the fun pimps, really take notice about the direction they were going in the game, because it was very, very samey for a while. They were adding a few things in, but not really adding, a lot of depth and dynamism into the game. And War of the Walkers did that, and they're taking that on board now. And obviously the Alpha 17 patch notes are coming out, and all the videos, and the developers are showing us what's going to be in the next one. And I'm watching that like I know where you've got that from. Fair play for, looking at it and saying, yeah, we need to take notice, sort of thing. Because it could have gone the other way. They could have been really stubborn and said, no, we're not going to take that on board. We're going to do things our way. And they've looked and said, you know what? These guys are smashing the living daylights out of, the foundations of our game. Let's go in that direction. Clearly, people are enjoying it.
Well,
so,
I was a big fan of this game. When I very first got my gaming PC, shall we say, it was it was about 6 years ago maybe, and I think this is one of the first games that I ended up getting because I found out that it was in early access. Obviously, being the horror fan that I am, I picked it up.
Yeah.
And I'm watching you do this. Watch this mod that you ended up picking up, and I haven't played this mod, but this looks so much better than it did when I first originally played it. Like it looks the zombies look different for a start, because when I first started playing, all the zombies were exactly the same, barring the big bloaters.
Oh god, no! There's loads more zombies. There's, I mean, to be fair to the Fun Pips, I don't know how long ago you played, but in Alpha 15 and 16, they added a fair few different types of zombies, and then there were some more in this one as well. They've got there were zombies that are coded into the back of the game that just weren't available. So they've basically been unlocked by this mod. And also there are bandits which are coded into the back of the game. And if you ever go into creative mode and just kind of see what's in there, they're there, but they can't be used or they can't be attacked or whatever. But now it's added a whole different element. So you'll be getting shot by humans. There are humans that are on your side trying to kill zombies. And then there are, these bandits which are just killing anything and everything. So, you'll be out fighting a horde of zombies and suddenly you've killed the last zombie and you're taking damage from behind and you turn around, there's some guy, filling you in with a FAMAS from about 100 yards away. And you've got to deal with that as well. And it's just added so much depth, and there are different buildings in there. They created Chinatown out of the in-game blocks and things like that. It's fantastic.
It's really obviously good. Something that I definitely need to get back. I've had it installed since I've got my new PC. I haven't reinstalled it yet. But for the fact that it was in alpha for so long, and you say it's still in alpha now?
It's still in alpha, but it's an active alpha. You get some games on early access, and it's just in alpha, and they're not doing anything with it. These guys are actively developing the game, and each alpha, bearing in mind it hasn't even got even close to touching what they would consider a beta yet. Each alpha is a massive step up in one way or another. They take community feedback on board, and they actively develop the game, and you can't fault them for it. They're doing a really good job with it, and it would be crazy to see what they consider a full version of this, because when I first picked it up to now, it's a completely different game.
Does this mirror the console version as well?
The PC version's always a bit ahead of the console, but from what I've heard, because I've been checking out for the Alpha 17 stuff, from what I've heard, they're doing a massive console update soon as well, and they should catch up somewhat. I don't know whether you'll get the full Alpha 17 experience, but you'll definitely be getting a lot closer. But I've got it on both as well. I've got it on PS4 and PC. PC version.
Oh, they've added snow. I'm just watching snow now. I've just seen the zombies that you killed before just get covered in snow on the floor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Precipitation's in the game, so there's rain and the snow actively does cover, I think, half a block's worth of the floor. So if there's landmines and stuff, you won't see them, and you will just blow up. And it's terrifying as well, because the sound's better as well and everything. We'll have to get on it sometime, me and you, and just have a playthrough. Yeah, it's I could talk about it all day.
I'll honestly, when I first got that game, I played the absolute shit out of it. I couldn't get off it, and then the zombies was running through walls and stuff like that, and it kind of taken it away.
Yeah, they've sorted that out. The pathfinding still needs a little bit of work. Like I say, it's in alpha, but you're not getting as much glitching or anything like that now. So it's definitely an improved product.
Awesome.
You'll enjoy it.
Definitely need to get back on that then. So, onto what I'm playing. It's very, very controversial, and it's something that I've had to backtrack on, because I originally said that I was never going to play it. I've ended up playing it, and it's
oh no, you're talking about
it's Metal Gear Survive. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Metal Gear Solid, the fifth one. I didn't like it. I don't know what. There was something about it that I just really didn't it wasn't tickling my fancy. However,
Right.
this game is like the ultimate survival sim, and I'm not even joking. I've muted it because you're going to hear me in the background, because I streamed this on Friday night along with one of my good friends, and also the Midnight Kid, who obviously I'm going to have to say is a good friend if he's lurking in here. So there was 3 of us that was rolling out, because my good friend who plays this, he plays it all the time, so it's quite a high level on it, whereas me and Barry are both noobs basically. So he was trying to give us some sort of indication as to what to do, how to grind and stuff like that. So we just literally played it all Friday night for about 6 hours. I think we played it for, literally just grinding.
Yeah.
Now when I say it's a survival game, I mean it's full on. Like, you run out of water, you run out of hunger. Like, you could probably play for 20 minutes real time when you're hungry. So you constantly have to keep on fending for food, cook your food, find water, clean your water, unless you find clean water. It is like the ultimate survival sim, and it's something that went straight over my head when I heard about it.
Yeah.
So the grind is real on it, though. The grind is super real.
See, I've been looking at this because it's a game that intrigues me. Not just being a Konami product, obviously. I do. Full disclosure, I do have a relationship with Konami and such. But just as a game itself and as a survival game, I'm not as hardcore into them as, like, say, the likes of you, but I do enjoy them. And so, obviously I was intrigued by it. But the reviews, it was... I mean, I went on a bit of a Twitter rant about it. The reviews were a bit crappy, and not just in that there were negative reviews, but they kind of lost focus about what people needed to know about the game. It was very much a kind of, like, let's shit on Konami because they've sacked Hideo Kojima.
It was a witch hunt more than a review.
It was, yeah. And, I mean, one of the things that kind of really prompted me to kind of speak out about it was the fact that people were talking about these hardcore survival elements as if they were a bad thing. Like, so people were saying that, oh, you get hungry and thirsty really quickly. I'm like, well, yeah, that's a core part of a survival game, is that, you've got to, you're not only battling against the environment and the enemies, you're battling against yourself. And, like, they were complaining about that as if that was a bad thing, and that, oh, you've always got to watch your health and your stamina and your, and eating and drinking. I'm like, well,
it's a survival game.
Like, it wouldn't be a survival game otherwise. It would just be, a run and gun game.
Exactly.
Like, it's, and all you've got are, like, bows and arrows and staffs and things. Like, well, yeah, I want it to be primitive. If I've got an AK-47, there's no amount of zombies that's going to stop me. Like, I want a hard game. But then, that being said, me being able to look at that objectively, that still didn't tell me whether it was a good game or not.
My beef with this game,
I still don't know. I still haven't bought it, even though
my beef with this game was the fact that I really didn't like 5. I could not get into it. Now I did used to like Metal Gear Solid. Like, the first 3, I thought was unbelievable. Like, I never finished the third one, but I completed that. I did get probably 3/4 of the way through it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. But the first 2 games, I've lost count of how many times I finished them. But the 5th one, I don't know if it was because of how it played, or because of how it controlled, or the whole element. I don't know. There was just something about it that I really didn't like, and I played it for a while. I just couldn't get into it. So my beef was that they was taking that mechanic of the game and then putting it into something that they had no right to be putting it into. Now, objectively, if I'm looking at this from the outside in, if I was playing this game and it didn't have Metal Gear on it, it would be it would be higher in the charts than it is now. 100%. People wouldn't be able to say, oh, but it's Metal Gear Kojima, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't have that to fall back on. But if they played this game and it didn't have Metal Gear on it, they would love it. I'm not joking. It's that good of a game.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I think that would probably be the case for 5 as well. I mean, it's a game that I haven't completed either. But I play it in, short spurts. I'll play like an hour or 2 here, not pick it up for a week, and then, grind out a couple more hours and stuff. And I mean, the fact that I probably haven't gone as far as many other people have maybe is a factor, but I do enjoy what I play of it. It's obviously not a Metal Gear game. I'm awful at Metal Gear games. Stealth, patience. You've met me. That's not me. And so, okay, it's just not. I try, but I'm just not good at it. I'm happy to hold my hands up there. Now, that Metal Gear Solid 5 is an open world game, and it gives you the choice of how you approach, these sort of missions. You can go stealthy, you can go a bit Rambo, and it rewards you in different ways for doing that. That's obviously not what Metal Gear is about. So again, having the name Metal Gear Solid on there, I think has done them possibly more harm than good. Obviously, the name carries weight and intrigue, but they could have done that and this as a completely new IP.
They could have just kept the whole Fox engine in there and some of the menus and stuff, or just slightly changed the design. And someone would have said it's a reskinned Metal Gear Solid. That would have been perfectly fine. I think they would have taken that criticism. It's a reskinned Metal Gear Solid and a brand new IP, rather than why they're putting Metal Gear Solid on because it's not a Metal Gear Solid game. I don't know. Obviously, we both don't work for Konami, so we don't know the business decision. But maybe they thought because it's got Metal Gear Solid there, it'll sell better. But I don't think they could have predicted how much backlash they probably got. But to be fair, unlike Steam and that, the reviews are quite decent on there. It's third party places that the reviews aren't doing too well. The people that actually review games for the living rather than consumer content.
Yeah, Steam reviews tend to be quite honest, other than that one company that got exposed recently by forcing their employees to write good reviews. Other than that, you can generally get a good feel for a game from Steam. I don't know. I mean, I'm new to kind of the PC gaming community, but it seems to be quite honest and brutally honest at times, but you at least know what you're getting. It's... I will probably give it a go at some point. I missed that beta that was available to try out. But I will.
If you can pick it up, mate, it's 100% worth it. 100%.
I'm trusting.
No, seriously.
You,
I know that you if you like things like 7 Days to Die and you've got the patience in that. Yes, you do run out of your hunger and your thirst a hell of a lot faster than any other survival game that I've ever played. Like sometimes it is beyond a joke because there isn't that many animals around to salvage from in the first place when you first start it, until you actually get further into the game and they become a bit more. There's more to choose from. But when you first start the game, there's 3 sheep round a pond that only appear when you sign into the game. So what people do with just logging in, slaughtering them, going back to the title menu, going back into the game and just doing that until they get enough to last them one playthrough, and then loading that up in time. And obviously that's time consuming to get back to the title menus because the menus are quite long in it as well. Like they do take a while to get in them. Obviously because it's an open world, everything needs to generate. So that is the most annoying part about it. But when I get further into it and I start to because you can build your own farms and stuff on your own site. So once you start to get more of them,
I've seen that,
I'm sure it'll be a doddle, and I know you won't have them problems. But being able to craft your own weapons and teaming up with your mates to go and do salvage runs and stuff like that it's mint. It's so good. I had so much fun on Friday playing it, and I probably will end up streaming it again this weekend. I just don't know when.
Yeah. I'll try and catch one of your streams and just kind of... I'll probably get a better idea of it watching someone I know play it, because I'll get a bit more of a feel of, how they're reacting to it and stuff. But, it definitely intrigues me.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, I'm just trying to load up the other game that I've been doing, and for some reason, an old man dyeing his hair has come up on my Twitch stream.
Nice. I'm just seeing that now. Yeah,
he's there again. I don't know how to. Well, basically, the other game that I was playing, unless I can do it this way, as Universe, obviously represent Pez Universe. If I can find it, I did save this down, but I think it may have. Dave Fish making an appearance there. I think it may have expired because I've been waiting too long. It may have been in there. There it goes. I'll just use this one. So basically, the other game that I've been playing is something that I've already mentioned in my other game, in my other We've Got Bibinho shows. It's obviously PES 2. We've come back. We're going full circle with these. It is an unbelievable game. Like, from start to finish, this game, it's so hard, but it's super rewarding at the same time. And I keep on saying this, and I go on about it all the time on stream, and I go on all about the time on Twitter. But it's just so rewarding. The Master League is such a grind, but again, it's rewarding. When you win a game, you feel like you've earned the win. And every team that I've played against plays exactly... They play so differently from each other. I could be 2-0 up, and they'll figure out how I'm playing, and then they'll beat me 3-2, and there's nothing I can do about it because I'm so one-dimensional. As you well know, because you beat me the other night for the title.
I did indeed, yeah. Oh, I actually wasn't going to be betting on your stream today.
I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I tell you what, though, it was karma, right? I'll let you in a quick story. Obviously, this PES 2018, you didn't beat me up until this point, and I was riding high on the top of my wonderfully white horse, being the white knight. It was just beautiful. It was just loving life. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a big statement here. So I actually made 2 graphics. Now the second one I had to make after the event, but I basically took a picture of myself with a pair of sunglasses on, put it on the rock as defending champion. That wasn't my finest art, but it was the one that I was doing when the missus walked into the room and she went, "What the fucking hell is that on your screen?" And it was basically a picture of me on Sheamus's body with the belt saying retained 3-0. So I had that ready before we even went into the game.
Oh no! So not only did you have to make it, but you got stick from your missus for it, and then didn't get to use it.
I didn't get to use it, no. So at the moment, it's on standby for if I ever manage to regain my title reign. But as it stands, I'll have a chance at some point. I'm sure Showtime will be coming back at some point. And yeah, I need another heavyweight.
Oh, of course,
heavyweight bout. First of the month.
First Tuesday of the month is when I have them scheduled for. So, yeah, you'll definitely have a couple more chances to
at least try and regain the title back. So. I need. You know, like in wrestling, you get one chance after you've lost the title to try and get it back.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you time to obviously improve your squad as well. Because to be fair, on paper, I mean, I shouldn't have lost the first one realistically. I mean, I opened it up because the initial kind of idea around Showtime, for those watching this back and who haven't heard of it, basically it was an idea for me to kind of play against, you know, either my subscribers or people from the PES community or whatever, at different levels and kind of emulate kind of, you know, boxing, fight nights and pay-per-view events. So I had different tiers, so it was kind of lightweight against, I mean, you won't mind me saying this, a considerably weaker opponent than yourself, and then kind of, I think it was kind of middleweight or featherweight or whatever I called it, where it was you could go from, I think it was 2 stars to 3 stars with a team. So again, a slightly better opponent and slightly better team strength as well, and then yourself, who was obviously the strongest opponent on the night, and open teams, so whatever you wanted. So I brought out, you know, all my black and gold balls, and then you rock up with a silver team, and I'm like, okay, this is bad, because if I win this, it's going to be because of the team, and if I lose this, oh my god, I'm never going to hear the end of it. And I lost that, and I did not hear the end of it.
Mate, I was, honest to God, I was making the whole experience from start to finish. If I'd have won that game, it'd have been a nightmare for you, because I was going to be making GIFs. Oh, yeah. I had Photoshop already open. It was just going to be a nightmare. I jinxed myself in the end. I think that's exactly what I did. I jinxed myself. No.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to experience that, because that would have been hell.
It wouldn't have been pleasant for anybody's timeline. They would just come on and they'd just be in my face on stupid things with a belt wrapped around it, like, I don't know, Ham from Toy Story with my face on the front of it and then a title around its neck. I don't know. There'd have been something weird.
Between you and, like, Bardinsky, in terms of, like, obnoxious photoshopping, it's... Yeah, it's unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, we miss it. We're going to miss Toby. I don't think I don't think he'll be watching any of these, but obviously he's left jelly, so we won't be able to Photoshop him in stupid things anymore. Because he is Mr Photoshoppable. We could stick him on anything.
He is, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think PES Day was when that started, wasn't it? Because there was the picture of him and Graham was sharing a room, and Graham, despite being the shorter and smaller man by at least 3 stone, dibsed the double bed and left Toby to, like, this kind of queen size camping bed, basically, that they'd shoved in the corner. at like in the last minute, and I think he like posed with his head in his hands. 10 hours later, Bardinsky crops up with him on that steel beam in New York and big curtains for medicines.
Oh, the world class. We'll have to try and dig them out and just repost them again, because that was like Twitter gold. Every time I refresh my feed, there'd just be a new one. It was unbelievable.
I think I stuck one of those because I interviewed the two of them as well at Pez Day, and then the video I did after that, I think I did something with Toby at the end, like for the outro of the video as well. So he was getting it from all angles. But bless him, he was a good sport. And he didn't shy away from it, to be fair.
I'd have threw myself through the window. I wouldn't have been able to come back from anything like that. I'd have been rocked. I'd have been shell-shocked.
You'd never see me again.
I'd have deleted my account. Alright, so obviously that was what I've been playing, PES 2. We didn't talk much about PES 2 there, but I think I've said everything that I need to say. I just wanted to say that I've been playing it again. So moving on to the news, the biggest news that I personally think is the biggest news of the week is something that me and you both discussed on Twitter. And it's something I'm super excited for, because I stupidly never managed to finish the first one. I never went to the end of it. Quick story. I'll load the news up. Quick story. This game came out in 2016, I think, the first one. Yeah, the game came out in 2016. I was super hyped for it. Sold. It's the Division 1. I was super sold on it. Me and mates, get it on release day. So we pre-ordered it, got it from Game Collection, came the day before, servers wasn't on, buzzing. Until the game launched, and we were just all hardcore. I think got up to like level 16 or something. I went on holiday. They carried on playing. I came back. They was like level 23, and I was miles away from them. Like every time I went to go and do a boss level with them, one shot dead. So I never picked it back up again. So obviously, if you want to start it again with me, I'll be more than happy to run through it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a really good, really fun game. Obviously, I was the same hype as you. Me and a couple of mates from college got back in touch, and we were going to squad up. And obviously, the first day, it was proper. It was kind of reminiscent of old school MMORPG style things, where if you bought the physical copy, it was like 3 discs or something, wasn't it? And then the servers, there was a queue to get onto the servers. It's kind of like early Warcraft, those kind of MMO days where it's like. Yeah, absolutely, and it was kind of a little nostalgia moment. But then it's kind of like, it's 2015. Can we not do this? So yeah, we played a bit of that, and then started squadding up with other people and getting through it. And then I didn't touch it for. I got through most of the story. I think I got through about like 70-80% of the story, and then I don't know, probably a new PES game dropped or something took my attention. So I'd stopped playing the Division for a little bit, but it wasn't out of a lack of enjoyment by any stretch. And then I got back into it, finished the campaign off, and by then they'd added a load more content to it as well. That obviously I did that dark zone in, and it basically added ways to keep bringing depth and continuity to the game. And whether you're playing, I think what's rare about the Division, and obviously it got a lot of slack for being quite empty early on, is that they've continued to develop more content for the game, but for both online and offline. The game's always online, but for people who play PvP, obviously against other players in the Dark Zone, and PvE, the game is equally enjoyable and equally focused on for both. You know, you get games like, for example, Call of Duty, where you kind of, some people don't ever touch the offline.
It's solely online,
don't ever touch the story, and they'll just go solely online, and that is where the focus is. Obviously in recent years, people like me and you will know the kind of shift in terms of the way Konami have developed the Pro Evo games. Obviously, my club is, obviously in business senses, it makes sense. It's a money maker for them. So a lot of the focus is going there, and less so on things like Master League. Obviously, that's looking to change with Adam going out there and, hopefully having a bit more influence. But again with Konami as well, we're seeing a shift in their market practices and going to mobile as well. And, businesses do that, they have to follow the money. But with the Division, they've balanced it literally 50-50. you couldn't look and say, oh, the online players get more content or the offline players get more content. Whenever they do a big update, they'll literally do one of one, then the next update is one for the other, and it's like that. PvE, PvP, PvE, PvP, and it's a great game. I feel like if I jump on it now, I'll have so much more to do, and I wouldn't be bored.
If I jumped on now, I would literally have the full game in front of me, because I left before I even got to end game, so I'd still have end game content. I didn't even see any of the free patches that they put down, as well as the 2 expansions that they put in, which was paid for season pass DLC. So if I went in now, it would be having a new game. The amount of stuff that I've missed on it,
and you don't even have to use the paid DLC either. You don't have to. You can run through with just the free stuff, still be able to access the game, still be able to have fun, still be able to get into the dark zone. The stuff that they've paid for, they're like extra game modes if you want them. And I feel like their strategy and the way they've done that, a lot of companies could take note of that. Don't give up on your title for a start. They could have quite easily just given up and said, you know what, people are shitting on us, we'll allow it, we'll go straight into Division 2. They kept on with it, and they've developed for their entire fan base. And I mean, we're definitely going to have a playthrough and get you finishing the game, because the latter missions are incredible.
What they've actually done as well, and this is something that I heard on another podcast that I listened to, the Kind of Funny podcast. They was talking about the fact that they're putting something in the game called shields. So if you was to go back and play the first one again, you pick up these shields. When you go to install the Division 2, it takes over some of the elements from the first one, and it's like it's not a loot box, but it's kind of like, thank you for playing the first one for so long, here's some exclusive stuff for the second one. So when you start that game off, you're like not ahead of the competition, but you've got a really good starting point.
That's good, and I'm really happy they're doing that. I hadn't heard about that, but that is again very similar to what Konami do with my club. If you've put in enough hours and you've been lucky enough to get some good players, I think now every year they do it. It's if you've got 3 or more black ball players, which I mean most people will do at some point, you get an automatic guaranteed team of the year spin in the next game and things like that. So it is good when because I mean a lot of these game companies are putting games out every year. Obviously with the Division, this is they were looking to do a 6-year span of it or something, weren't they?
I don't know if this is based on one of his books or anything. Like usually the games that they create or the storylines are either just small stories in their own right, fully fledged books, or just like mini memoirs or stuff like that. I don't know. But I don't know if this is based on something that a brand new concept, a brand new IP. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
So I'll just read out what the statement that they come out with. And this is sourced from PC Gamer. It's an official statement that they've come out with. They've stated, "We're thrilled to announce that we are working on Tom Clancy's The Division 2, and that development will be led by Massive Entertainment in collaboration with Ubisoft Reflections, Red Storm Entertainment, Ubisoft NSA, Ubisoft Shanghai, and Ubisoft Bucharest." Reads the announcement on the Ubisoft website. We're also taking everything we learned over the past 2 years and applying it towards the sequel to make sure that we get it right. So everything that they're saying is everything that any Division player or someone who may not have picked it up first time but wants to get into it wants to hear. They've listened to what they needed to do. They're going to implement it in the second one, and that's perfect. That's all game developers should care about. Learning from the mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ubisoft they kind of get mixed reviews, and sometimes they get a lot of heat for things. And I think over the years they've taken that on board and changed their overall practices. Really, they're not just churning games out all the time anymore. They're putting a bit more thought process behind things, and the development process is led by the consumer, which is it's admirable. It's good. No, I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. So, moving on to the second one. I don't know how familiar you are with Nintendo. However, this is possibly one of the biggest news articles or anything that could have come from the Nintendo Direct, which happened last week. That Super Smash Bros. Is coming to the Nintendo Switch, which for me is unbelievable, considering I've waited so long to be able to play this on a console that I'm actually going to own rather than round at a friend's house.
Right, so for context, you've known me since I was 24, 24, maybe? I'm 27 now. All right, so if you know me as a teenager, that first sentence you just said would not have come out of your mouth. I am all over Nintendo. I'm all over Smash Bros. I'm the guy on Smash Bros. Whoever wants it can get it on Smash Bros. I'm that guy, okay?
This is going to sell consoles. This is a console seller. This is what people have been wanting.
It's selling it for me. I haven't got a Switch yet, but I'm getting it now. I've been waiting for this. I said either Smash Bros. Or Pokemon game, and I'm getting a Switch.
Happening. So this is the cherry on the icing on top of the cake.
There we go. So that's 2 games that anyone can turn up and get smacked on if they want to. I'm all over it. I'm going to be talking shit for days.
What they need to do, though, they need to bring out Joy-Cons that replicate the button formation on the GameCube pad.
Oh, you're a guy. Yes, you know it's GameCube pads or nothing.
They need to replicate those 4 oddly shaped and oddly placed buttons. Yeah, it's for anything like this. Kart, Zelda. It was perfect for Zelda. It was literally, it was the perfect pad. Like, there's nothing else that you can say apart from it was the perfect pad. So if they can bring out Joy-Cons that emulate that, I mean, I'd use them for everything, but especially for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now this is obviously a console seller for me. I think it will probably prompt me to go and play things like Breath of the Wild. I mean, my friend Roy, who has been in a couple of my videos and he comes and shoots videos with me and stuff, he got a Switch on launch. So we played Breath of the Wild, we played ARMS, can't remember what else we played. I think it was Bomberman, something else. And it's always an enjoyable experience, but now this is going to make me go out and get
I love my Switch. Like, I use it. If I'm not on the PC upstairs and she's downstairs watching TV, I'll have my Switch out and I'll be playing something. There's so many games to choose from, and a lot of them aren't that expensive. Like, obviously the main Nintendo IPs are through the roof when they first come out in price, but like Zelda you can pick up for £35. That's like an unbelievable price for the game.
That's mental.
Mario Kart, £35. Mario Odyssey, £35.
Hasn't Zelda got something close to like 200 hours worth of content in there?
Like, I don't even think I've scratched the surface, and I've been playing it for like 40 hours. It's just unbelievable. I want to play. I say, right, 4 hours. I've got 4 hours here, and I won't even make a dent in the game. I don't feel like I've done anything. It's just one of them games. But
you need games
like that. You need games that you can carry on playing. It's not just £40 for a lukewarm experience. You want the full. If you're going to pay for it, you want the full hours out of it. I mean, a game outright isn't defined by how long it takes you to complete the game, because some games fucking drag it out more than it should do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I paid £40 for Resident Evil 7. It's 11 hours long, and that was my game of the year last year.
Sure.
So it really doesn't.
Yeah, you can get short games that are absolutely fantastic. I mean, one of my favourite games that I've played and I still play occasionally is a game called Absolver. And it's an indie game, but the output of it is fantastic. Yeah. You wouldn't guess that it's like a studio of about 4 people in like some back road in France. And, you know, the actual storyline of it is... You'd struggle to scratch 10 hours to do the actual story, but the way it's played and the way it's developed and the way you kind of go about it, the game's very lonely, or it can be very lonely at times, and it's very bare bones, but just the way it's done is fantastic. And you don't necessarily need, you know, to go overboard with everything and have, you know, a 10 out of 10 story and 10 out of 10 graphics and, you know, longevity, and have people, you know, people will get bored of anything good if you stretch it out long 100%. Enough. And there was a tweet that I saw in the week, and someone was asking, you know, have games improved or declined in terms of storytelling? And for me, my response was that there's a lot more quality in terms of, like, storytelling has improved in gaming. There's no two ways about it. You look at, you know, the Naughty Dog games, fantastic. I haven't played all the way through Breath of the Wild, but people that I trust have said that the storyline in that is fantastic. You know, one of the best they've ever had. And they are better than the stories that we had as kids.
100%.
Not,
well, for a start, the discs are a lot bigger, so the more people are getting on. But if this is games itself, compared to films and stuff like that, it's nearly worth as much as films and blockbusters and things like that. So if they can nail as to a proper storyline within a game, it can sell for a lot longer than a DVD or sort of film at the cinema will do. People are still picking up games from 20 years ago and playing through them that they may not have been able to play first time round. Do you know what I mean? So the price of a game can drop, but the quality within that disc or whatever, it's not going to change. If it's a classic, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it though. Obviously, with the way that the technology has improved and the gaming industry has changed, it's not every game is trying to put out a good story anymore, because you don't necessarily have to. Some games can wow people with graphics. We will pick up a football game every year. The main thing for us is the gameplay and then the graphics. And those are the things that get shown off. We don't, other than FIFA, which has the journey, which as a story mode isn't that great. In all honesty, it's just a bit new. No one else has done it. But you don't pick up a football game for a story mode. You pick it up for that, and not every game is trying to do that anymore. So you get a lot less quantity in terms of games trying to tell good stories. But the ones that do are incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
We got The Last of Us.
That's going to go down. Yeah, it's going to go down in history.
Ever told in a video game, and if that was a movie, that would probably be one of the best movies of all time, just on that story. So
the Uncharted series as well. You got 4 of the 5 of them if you include the Vita version.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think there's ever going to be a concern in terms of us not having story-based games and good content as well.
So moving on to the actual final news story, it's something that I see a lot of things. I've seen it echoing around on Twitter when it got released. I think it was at E3 last year, about one of the potential greatest survival horror games. It was Days Gone. Now, unfortunately, it's been delayed until 2019, which I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing. I don't think they've got the grace that, say, Red Dead had, in the fact that they was able to delay theirs 8 months and people go, do you know what, it's Red Dead, I've waited enough time for it in the first place. I don't see how it is going to recover, because the game looks phenomenal, but for them to delay it nearly a year shows that this game was nowhere near the kind of game that they was hyping it up to be, personally.
Well, for me, my kind of my mindset on that is, if it needs to be delayed, it needs to be delayed. The whole thing that got people interested in Days Gone is that they were incredibly ambitious, like insanely. They were looking to do things that no one would even bother with, because that's just not going to run. It's not going to happen. And they were like, no, we can do this. We can put 100, 200 zombies on screen at the same time. We can, and I think the fact that they're staying true to that and not just saying, all right, we can't do it in time, so let's just sack it off and get it released when we said we would. I'd rather wait. It's a new IP. So, it's not like that it's stuck into any kind of time scale where we need a new one in this amount of time.
Do you think it's as good as as they're saying it's going to be?
I think the fact that they're delaying it means it's a lot more likely that it's going to be. Definitely. I've watched, obviously you sent me the link for this, and I've watched, their videos and stuff and what they're putting out, and it looks like it could well be one of the best survivor games based on what we've seen already.
Don't forget that the news article that I sent you was from IGN, and it wasn't this article, shall we say, only got created a couple of days ago when it got announced. However, the video that's contained in it was from I think it's June 2017. So by then, since that gameplay trailer you would have seen, it would have been nearly 2 years since you've seen that. So therefore, they would have spent maybe 5 years in development of the game. That's an awfully long time to be able to. Technology moves a lot faster in most games than in most medias. So 5 years. By then, it'll be around 5 years. That's a long time to be in. Most people would say that's in development hell. I don't know.
Yeah, quite possibly.
But you don't even know when it's coming out in 2019. It could be the fall of 2019.
The end of it,
be. We have absolutely no idea. It's just TBA 2019. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is a kind of a. It's 6-1 offer, doesn't it? It's kind of like you want companies to take time and develop the games properly, but then they could be kind of going a bit too far if like you say, 5 years. But I mean, we saw, what was the game that was in development for like a good 6-7 years and came out and just wasn't that good? It was okay. The one with the guy and the kind of the bird dog.
The Last Guardian. Thing. Mate, that was 10 years. That was 10 years that was going around for.
There we go.
The Last Guardian.
So I mean, it was good, but it wasn't
amazing. That literally went through the PS. It wasn't, obviously it didn't touch the PS2, but it was the early PS3, and it went through the whole life cycle of the PS3, and then scraped what we're now nearly 4 years into the PS4 cycle. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's like
absolutely.
3 different
I
game
wouldn't want to
engines.
see Days Gone do that at all. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't want to see Days Gone go through that, and I don't think it will. But that being said as well, I think Days Gone are trying to push a lot more boundaries than The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian is kind of it's a story game, essentially. Whereas this obviously has story elements, but it's pushing a lot more in terms of, hardware capabilities and that sort of thing, and being able to optimize that well and that sort of thing. So I don't know what their development process is.
But to be fair though, even in the gameplay, from the screenshot that I've got on the screen, the graphics aren't pretty. Like to say it's meant to be a premium PS4 game, unless they do something serious to it, it's not going to look that pretty. It's just you're just going to have to hope that the mechanics of the game are as polished as what they're going to say it's going to be. Otherwise, they're going to have wasted a long time and a lot of money on something that they're just going to get absolutely slated for. I mean, to be fair, it's made by the people who made Siphon Filter, and I love the Siphon Filter series.
I'd never played one of those.
Like the first one was like a game changer.
I'd heard good things, yeah. But that's it. I think it's going to go one of two ways. It's either, I don't think it's going to come out and be a bad game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's either going to be decent or incredible. If it's decent, it's going to get absolutely ripped for taking so long to just be decent. If it's incredible, like I hope it's going to be, because this is a game I want to pick up.
I'm definitely picking it up.
Is incredible,
there's no two ways about that. I'm definitely getting it.
If it is incredible, then we're going to look. It might even change the way the whole industry thinks about development, because it's going to be like, well, spend this time and put out a really good product. I think they've got to be working on polish now.
I have absolutely no idea what the mechanics of the game are. It could be that you're a lone ranger in a single player world. It could be that they're taking so long because they thought, it might be better with a friend, and they're putting a co-op mode in it. There's been no details given as to why. So,
I mean, from what we've seen, especially the trailer and the link you sent me, those mechanics look like they would be wasted if you couldn't have at least an option to go co-op.
100%.
I think it needs. I think almost every survival game should have a co-op option, because yes, you get that loneliness anyway. But if it's built well enough and the game's developed well enough, you'll still get that loneliness that you need in a survival game. But there's also the element of having one person on your side that is also very important in those sorts of games. So, I hope that there is some kind of co-op integration happening there, and I hope that they're spending the time polishing the game rather than trying to cram in more features.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time that we're going to see kind of a zombie. Sorry, I'll try and word this better. It's going to be the first time that we're going to see a set of zombies move like they do in that World War Z, where they like build a chain up a wall and they can all climb above each other. I haven't come across a survival game where that happens. I've seen them move fast and I've seen them run in some cases, but I've never seen them tackle high walls or use themselves as ladders, shall we say, for them to move up. So I think that'll add an extra dimension to something that I'm not familiar with when playing in a zombie game anyway. It's just that another element of fear.
Well, yeah, that is. I mean, that is the kind of ambition I was kind of really talking about as well is that obviously they're going to have so many of these zombies, but also these zombies are going to have AI and having so many of them on screen at that time. Because it's the thing with zombie games and why you can have big hordes in zombie games and such like that. It's because it's very easy to develop zombies. You make them dumb, you make them primal, and job done. No one questions it. You know, zombies are supposed to be dumb. They're supposed to be primal. That's the entire point. When you start making them, you know, have some kind of intelligence like this, you've got to do it well. You can't make a zombie act with the same AI that you'd put as a human opponent. You know, that code is out there, it's replicable, but you don't want to put that in a zombie. So you've got to be, they're creating an entirely new sort of player intelligence. And that's, I say, they've got to do it well.
That's the scary thing, is you don't know where they're going to take it. And that to me is possibly the most exciting thing about it, because when I put that disc in, I have no idea how to control that game. When I'm playing a Resident Evil game, I know what I'm going to get out of it, and I know how the zombies are going to act. 4 was a bit of a change. However, after 4, they all move exactly the same. It's not an issue. However, these are going to be like something that I've never encountered it's just going to be learning it from new again. How much time do you have to reload your weapon? How much time do you have to get from A to B without them chasing you down? Can they outrun you? It's one of them things you have absolutely no idea until you get into it.
Well, there was in that video clip, the guy drove past like wolves. I think they call them runners if they're infected wolves, and he's on his bike, and the wolf outruns him. It catches up to him, and he has to turn and shoot it. And it's like, you know, obviously we play 7 Days to Die, and you know that if you get a mini bike, you know, there's a kind of a complacency that sinks in, because it's like, well, I know that as long as I can get to my bike, whatever happens, I can outrun whatever is on screen. There's nothing catching me at all, and I can drive until they forget about me. This game, that's not the case, you know. And there was a quote that that one of the guys said, you know, he's basically saying that he wants to rid complacency in the game. He wants the player to never be able to stop looking over his shoulder. There's, you know, the trip wires, the clothesline wires in the road. The dogs can catch you. You know, if you see a horde, you know that there could be another 200 zombies in that space that you've got no idea about. So you've always got to be on edge. And like you said, with Metal Gear Survive, it's a different take. It's very hardcore in terms of survival aspects. This is going to be the same again, in that it's giving you a new challenge, a new element to the survival, where paranoia isn't present in a lot of survival games these days. And it's an element that if you were to put yourself in that situation in real life, zombie apocalypse, I'd be shitting myself 24/7. You know, so to be able to put that in a game and really make that happen, I think it's exciting.
Super exciting.
That's
something that, as much as I can't be arsed waiting around for this game to be that long. It sounds like I'm changing my tune from what I said originally, but this game, I was so looking forward to it, and the fact that they're putting it back so far, it's casting some sort of doubt in my mind. But however, regardless of what doubt was going to be there, it was always going to be a game that I was going to pick up regardless. It's just one of those.
Yeah, it's a patience thing, isn't it? Like,
All right, so on to this isn't a new story. It's the For Your Information segment that I always like to do. It is H1Z1 has become a free-to-play game today. Well, it wasn't today. It was last week. It was 5 days ago. But H1Z1 was one of the original Battle Royale games. It predates PlayerUnknown Battleground. It predates Fortnite, which Fortnite is now officially taking over the world. It predates all of those and is now, rightly so, trying to compete with the previous two that I've just mentioned, and they've put themselves into early access. So if you go onto Steam, you'll be able to download this game free of charge. If you did already have this game, and you actually paid for it, because it was a paid-for game before the free-to-play model, you're actually going to get quite a few free stuff. So I think it was like 10 appreciation packs, which is like loot crates basically. So you get some free stuff in there. Well, I say it's free, it's stuff that you've already paid for. Like, but that's your a little bit of For Your Information, just in case you are wanting something a little different. It is significantly different to PlayerUnknown Battleground and Fortnite. I don't think it's as in depth as PlayerUnknown, but again, they're all in early access.
But didn't PlayerUnknown develop H1Z1 and then branch off to go and do his own thing?
I think that was DayZ.
Oh, okay.
They was part of the Armour group, because it was a DLC add-on to Armour, which I've got. and then they went off to go and do their own standalone game, which I then rebought stupidly because it's shite compared to the standalone version is shit compared to the one that Armour have put out as a mod. So that's kind of in development hell 5 years later. But yeah, that is your news for this week. Don't forget, obviously, we will be doing more news on Sunday. However, the main part of the show is a topic of my guest choosing, and I will let him talk about what his topic is.
Okay, can I nip to the loo before we get into
mate,
this?
You go to the loo, and I will continue to talk.
All right, cool. I'll be back in a bit.
So obviously, Sho is our guest this week. He is a current member of the Pro Evolution Soccer community. He's a friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a while now, and like I said, it was an absolute pleasure to be able to speak to him here. There is this Sunday coming. Obviously, it's Tuesday today, and we've had to delay this one. This week coming is the person who posted into the chat earlier, which is the Contextual Podcast. I did actually go onto his podcast about a week and a half ago to talk about things like, obviously, my Blue Boys, City, our favourite derbies. We talked about Pro Evo and the current state which we find the game. And there's a couple of other things that we talked about as well. So what I'll do is in the description of this, I'll drop the podcast link in to the podcast that I did with him over on his channel, so you'll be able to go over it. Don't forget to go over there and just subscribe to him, because honest to God, I think he's on about episode 39 now. And officially, I think he's been doing it since just before Christmas again. So he's just bashing out the podcast with his friends left, right, and centre. Any news that breaks, anything that he wants to talk about. More often than not, it's either about United or Pro Evo. So yeah, if you want to go over there, speak to him. He's going to be our guest this week. I haven't announced episodes 6, 7, and 8 who my guests are going to be for that yet. I'm not too sure who they're going to be. There is a few people I've got in mind. More notably, someone who was on Master Chef about 10 years ago, and is someone who follows me on Twitter, and I follow them. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to come and speak to him, because it is something that it's a show that I watched quite a lot. So if I can get some sort of insight into what he actually went through on the show, that'll be awesome. But I've just heard some coughing down the mic, so I think our guy is right back. Yep. Okay, so I finished on talking. Back. Fire away.
Okay, my main topic is Score Against Cancer. It's a charity event that I started last year with the help of quite a few people. Cancer Research, Jelly Media, the PES community came together and made it a big success. And we're going again this year. For anyone who watched the live stream, I was kind of given the mandate to do so live on air. I was absolutely delighted that they wanted to kind of do that again. So yeah, it's happening again this year. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about. Obviously, gaming and charity, two things that I really kind of put my heart and soul into. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the main topic. And obviously, there's a new website coming as well, which we're going to launch live on here as well. So yeah, I mean, ask away.
So obviously, I was one of the people fortunate enough to be able to be part of that event, and it was such an unbelievable day, despite obviously the late start and the late arrival of yourself due to whatever was on the roads. But it was a traffic nightmare on the motorway. It was obviously it started a little bit later, but the night was unbelievable. Like, obviously we had myself, yourself, your missus, Dave Fish, the Verminator, Pirate, Toby, Graham. Who else was there? Was that everyone?
There was supposed to be a guy called Micah, but he couldn't make it on short notice. And obviously we had the engineering team in there.
Unfortunately, their name escapes my head because I've only met them twice.
Yeah. Yeah, we used the studios, Jelly Media Studios in Blackpool. They were kind enough to donate that time, space, and expertise as well, because I was fully prepared to have to, look at fundraising and figure out different ways to try and make this event happen. And so I spoke to Graham I think it was after Anfield. I went to basically to play the new Pro Evo, the current Pro Evo game early at Anfield. And after everyone had kind of gone, I stayed behind, talked to Graham about it. It was something we kind of spoken about in passing. And for those who don't know who we're talking about, Graham Day is a community manager for Pro Evo and some other games as well. And he works for Jelly Media, and I spoke to him about it, and I said, asked him in more detail. I said, this is happening now. You guys have got a studio. How much would it cost? How much space and whatever? And I was fully prepared to, go and raise that money. And he said, let me speak to the higher ups, but I would pretty much be happy to say you can have it. And I was like, I was baffled. I was like, are you sure? Like, studio space costs a lot. There's a lot of, just being able to turn the lights on in a studio is a lot of money. So I think
the amount of lights that they've got on there as well.
It's a proper setup, and they've improved it as well. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And that was, I think that was kind of the main stumbling block I was ever going to have, was make sure we had space and whatever. And not only did they give me that space, they gave me 2 of their members of staff, who were obviously the technical team, to handle that side of things so we could concentrate on presenting. They also gave us 2 other members of staff to be presenters, obviously Toby and Graham. And then from there, all that left for me to do was to kind of round you guys up and get you guys involved and obviously develop the content itself. But it's crazy the amount of work that goes into putting an event on like this. I mean, I did my homework beforehand, and I was still out of my depth. It was crazy.
Well, what I've actually got is your announcement video up on my screen. I was just searching for, because I remember seeing a video that you did for the announcement.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, so I've just been trolling through your YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do is I've actually got something that's new for the stream. I've asked people if they wanted to put adverts into the stream just to promote themselves.
Sure.
So what I've got I'm going to run this advert, and then I'm going to run straight afterwards your announcement video, and we can come back to it if that's all right with you, just so everyone can get an understanding of exactly what went on the day. So advert first, and then we'll run into this video.
Cool. Oh God. Completely forgot I made this video.
I always end up doing this, and everyone can hear us, by the way. Mm-hmm.
They can hear us. All right, people. Can't hear me.
That's weird because I can hear it in my ear.
I guess I should probably talk to see if they can hear me still. Oh my god, I'm searching back on your stream. 99.99% not this guy. Has it happened? Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, basically, this was obviously the announcement that you did, and obviously what's going to... I can just hear the regular phone call. I think when I put Skype on, it just dampens everything that's on in the...
Oh, okay.
Just dampens all the other media that comes out of the PC. But basically, this was like his little announcement video that he did for the event that was coming up. But anyway, Precision, thank you very much for joining, mate. Hope you're doing all right. But yeah, that was obviously the announcement video that you did for Score Against. I thought that was a funny video, if I'm being honest. Obviously, it's very informative about what was going to go on the day, and that's all you needed to get across, really.
Yeah,
I think you've edited to come on a little bit since then, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, just a bit.
Nando's, what's going on, mate? Hope you're doing all right. By the way, if you both have any questions about anything, then just drop in. Obviously, this is the final segment about the Score Against Cancer charity that Show is running. And he was just talking us through obviously what happened on the day. Obviously, I was one of the people that was fortunate enough to be there and help out, make the event possible by being a participant who got levered on every single game that I ended up playing, including the court ones.
You did, didn't you? Yeah.
So I was whipping by.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a great event. So obviously, if people couldn't hear what was said in that YouTube video, essentially, I got in touch with cancer research thanks to a guy called Scribs. Basically, I listened to a podcast, and they had a guy from cancer research on there, this doctor, and I'd wanted to do a charity event anyway, but I couldn't decide, what I was going to focus on. There are a lot of things that I'm quite passionate about, mental health and child care and child charities and things like that. And then I listened to this podcast by chance, and this doctor from cancer research was on there, and it was about our age, mid-20s. He was really charismatic, and he put it all into not layman's terms per se, but he made it very understandable, and he was entertaining. He was funny, at that moment it kind of clicked. I was like, right, I need to talk to this guy, and I need to get him at this event. In the end, he couldn't make it, but by having that conversation, talking to the guy Scribs, who was one of the guys on the podcast, put me in touch with cancer research, and then through me organising the event, I was able to put the Bobby Moore Fund in touch with Konami, so there might be some cool things happening with that. And just being able to build that relationship and get the help in terms of running the event, having the official page. And then, getting you guys all together in the studio, writing the content for that, making sure that we, had the right timings and things like that. Obviously, that went a bit left because of, traffic and stuff. But,
we got free pizza.
It was... We did, yeah. That's another thing that Jelly Media donated. They donated the refreshments and everything as well, so I can't thank them enough. But yeah, it was a great event. It was a great studio event.
It was awesome.
Managed to raise a lot of money. We were live for, I think it was something like 2 hours and 40 minutes. We raised over £1,000, including gift, which is phenomenal.
You had a lot of prizes donated as well by Konami, didn't you?
We had prizes donated by Konami, donated by Intersport UK. Pirate donated a prize that he'd won himself, which was quite valuable. And he said, yeah, you can have it. I was like, it was the signed Man United shirt from one of the seasons where they were actually pretty decent as well.
Not the bag of shit.
Yeah, so...
But there's a couple of comments in there saying, in what ways can we help out as a community? And obviously Nando's is offering himself as a service for at any point.
Right. Well, I guess now would probably be a good time to say that the new Score Against Cancer website is up, and it's a lot better than the last one. The last one was done within the space of a day, just to get a one-page website up and show people that there was an event happening and encourage people to donate. Now there is a proper website on there, again developed by myself. That is my kind of day-to-day thing, so it's kind of like it's one less thing to shell out.
Well, if you're willing to release the URL, just say it out, mate, so the people who are listening on audio have a chance to be able to look at it themselves as well.
Cool. Scoreagainstcancer.co.uk. So that's all one word. Scoreagainstcancer.co.uk, and you'll be able to go on there and see the information. It will be continually updated as soon as anything happens. We'll get a blog on there and everything like that. And there's a page on there called Get Involved, and it lets you know the various ways you can get involved in this event, including obviously being part of the studio event, which is obviously quite limited due to space and whatever, but that is still open. Also, in terms of being able to support without necessarily being part of the event, and for streamers and content creators as well, we'll be creating special contribution packs for them, which will include special kits made for video games. So we've got a guy called Big Zombie Monkey, who you'll obviously be familiar with. He's designed us some special kits which look absolutely phenomenal.
Everything he does, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I shouted him. He was the first person I went to, and he's done some great kits, which will be you'll start being able to see being used by the people getting involved in the event and other streamers who want to support the event as well. Just plenty of information is going to be on there. And we'll be using the social channels as well in terms of allowing people to get involved. Essentially, this is a community event as well. It's and not just the PES community, the football community, the gaming community, everybody who wants to get involved and do something good and be part of this bigger picture. It's about everyone. It's not just about kind of me wanting to donate to cancer research. It's about giving that opportunity to everybody to be involved in something like that. And essentially, I'm just a facilitator for that. But yeah, thank you, Precision and Nando's King, for wanting to get involved. It's a big thing. It's a big deal, and there are big plans for it going forward to expand, not just on the studio event itself, but also to try and do more physical events and just try and get this out there, and essentially be able to do as much as possible as we can for people suffering from quite a horrible disease, because that's what it's all about. Obviously, there is the entertainment factor.
Mate, you've taken the initiative on yourself, and you've actively gone out and you've been able to put something together as well. Obviously, you did a lot of planning last year, but honestly, it was one of the best events that I've ever been a part of. And I was only there as a competitor. I wasn't there to host anything. I wasn't there to present anything. But just to be able to be in the room with everyone who was buzzing, watching the live stream. Because when I wasn't playing, I had my phone out and I was watching the stream. Even though right in front of me was you lot on the desk, I had my phone out and I was reading the comments. Even the missus downstairs, she was on there. She was watching it all and stuff like that. So I can't say how much of a big event it was, and the way it all got put on, obviously by yourself and everybody else, it was phenomenal, mate, and you should be extremely proud of yourself. And I'm glad that you're kicking on this year and you're trying to make it even better than last year, because I for one, I can't wait to see it all unfold again.
Yeah, absolutely, and I say thank you for being involved. And the community came together incredibly. People. Like my personal friends from back home, my girlfriend's friends were watching. People who were at the event had their missus at home watching and donating, and people that I hadn't even met or interacted with. I think the first time I had any kind of interaction with Precision was announcing that he'd won a prize, and now
What did he win? Did he win a Metal Gear Solid thing?
I think he did. I think he won the Metal Gear Solid packet. Probably the most expensive prize on the night.
Yeah, because that was like a Japanese import, wasn't it? I remember him saying, because I was looking at it, a picture. It was was it the Revengeance game? Where it was it was.
Quite possibly.
Sure it was the one where he had like it was Raiden with like the eye patch and the gammy arm and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there was the actual figurine of that. Then like a collector's box with a game and I think some concept art and a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Or something
He
as
won
well,
the UEFA
that
Champions
you just
League
can't
package,
buy.
but someone we know won that,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was an unbelievable prize.
Yeah. So it was great to have everybody involved like that, and yeah, absolutely want to kick on. This year we're doing the same sort of thing again. I'm writing a different sort of a different set of content this time. So in terms of what people will see us playing, and obviously I don't know what the build's going to be like that we're going to be able to use, but we're we're going to have a different sort of content. We're also going to be trying to maximize what we can deliver just in the studio. We know we can raise £1,000 in a few hours. We know we can do that. So I want to see, and that was with, essentially 2 weeks of promo and a month of serious planning. So now I'm planning it from now. I've got, we're talking about 3 months planning. We're going to be, obviously the promo run starts now. And we're going to be working hard, getting other people involved as well, people with different audiences as well. So it won't just be the PES audience. We might get some, football YouTubers in there. I've got some people in mind already that are very interested in this. So it'll be kind of maximising what we can do in terms of a studio event and then branching out. So I think someone dropped in the chat saying about Score Against Cancer 5-a-side tournaments. I definitely want to do charity matches. I want to do gaming events, physical gaming events, and trying to get this to be as big as it can be so we can maximize the effect and raise as much money as we can for charity and do a great thing in the process, and also give a platform to the people that get involved as well. That's kind of like my secondary outcome with this. Obviously the main thing for it is to raise money, but then also to give people who I see working hard and people who are trying to get into these spaces, give them the opportunity to say, all right, here you go, here's probably the biggest thing you're gonna get the chance to be on in this kind of time and space where you're at the moment. Use this to kick on and do better things, and in the process you're building your profile and doing a good thing in at the same time. It's the sort of thing that looks incredible on your CV as well. So there is that element to it too. So for example, Micah, who couldn't turn up last time but he's determined to turn up this time, he wants to get into presenting and punditry and things like that, and he's got a lot of knowledge and he's building his platform. And this is something that could help him skyrocket.
All it needs is a few clips, doesn't it? That's it. It's building your portfolio.
Exactly, and some of the streamers who got involved last time, including myself, obviously they got a lot more in terms of people watching and people knowing who they were, because it went up to 2.8 million people in the end, which is crazy.
A ridiculous amount of people.
That's numbers that we can't normally touch, but because of what it was, and obviously with Konami being very, very generous and letting us stream off their Facebook page, we were able to hit a massive audience. So it's about allowing people to have an opportunity to do that as well. And if I can facilitate that and help someone's career skyrocket, then great.
Everybody wins.
Absolutely.
So obviously that was our main topic. Is there anything else, or any shout outs, or anything that you want to talk about before we call it a day?
Shout out my new niece.
Yes, Uncle Sho.
So I'm absolutely delighted about that. I want to thank you for having me on.
Pleasure, mate. As I said, it's something that when I first put it together, you was on the list of people that I wanted to get on.
Absolutely. I'm going to be doing my own kind of. It's not going to be the same format as what you're doing, but I'm looking to do a talk show as well. And obviously, I've already reached out to you about that, so look out for that coming soon. The show. Showtime, first Tuesday of every month as well. We'll be putting together some of the best PES content. They are really good streams. Like, without blowing my own trumpet, they're some of the best content that I've been able to put out. I really enjoy making them. I enjoy watching them back. Anyone who's listening to this, make sure you check those out as well. They're happening the first Tuesday of every month. And I think that is pretty much it from me in terms of
Where can
shout
they find
outs.
you, mate?
You can find me on Twitter, tweeting recklessly 24/7 at Ash El Negro. That's ASHELNEGRO. Where I'll be talking about anything from current affairs to things like mental health awareness. So it does vary.
Where do you play your games?
I play my games on YouTube and on Twitch, primarily YouTube. YouTube.com/ShogunFC official, because ShogunFC was apparently taken by an account that doesn't exist. Yeah, seriously. And on Twitch as well, it's twitch.tv/ShogunFC. You can find me there. Occasionally as well, I'll stream on Periscope, but that'll be just via Twitter anyway. But yeah, that's where you will find me.
Not a problem. Well, again, mate, thank you very much for joining us for episode 4. Don't forget, you can find this show. I'm going to keep on plugging it because I still think it's an achievement for little old me to be able to have my own show on all different formats, most notably iTunes and Twitch. I'm proud of myself for getting on iTunes, mate. I mean, apparently they vet the first show, so they must have had to listen to that and thought, Christ almighty, what we're letting onto the platform. Yeah, exactly. And the rest of them have been able to go. Yes, Nando's. I don't know. I was having like a midnight breakdown. I thought, where else can I shove this podcast? I know. MySpace. Let's get MySpace back out. So yeah, I am on MySpace. Yes, I'm rolling back out of the MySpace. I'll be making a Bebo page tonight. But yeah.
Get your skins
exactly.
out.
So, I'm on iTunes. The We've Got Bibinho show. Just type that in and anything. I'm sure my face is going to pop up. But we've got the Contextual podcast on Sunday. I'm sure we're definitely going to talk about some PES stuff. And I hope by then United have bottled it and we end up having to beat them at the Etihad to lift the title. So that'll be an interesting conversation if that happens before then. But until then, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure and I hope to see you all again extremely soon.
Take care.